Tunde Okoya, President, Organization for Technology Advancements for Cold Chain in West Africa. He also happens to be our lead speaker today. We have also in our midst Mr. Segun Ato, who is going to act as a panelist today, and he's from the Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria.
Let us be on our feet. In Jesus' name, we are praying.
Thank you very much, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming. It is not easy leaving your comfort zone to come to this place this morning. Thank you. You're welcome once again. This small speech I prepared for today. Special guest of honor, who is unavoidably absent, and I think we are still expecting him also. The guest speaker, the brand and marketing journalist, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me a great pleasure to stand before you this historic day to welcome you all to what promises to be a very special gathering of the best minds in Nigeria's marketing communication industry. Today, we plan to share ideas on topical issues affecting brand Nigeria, as well as honor outstanding players in our industry and the economy, whose thoughts, words, and actions have left remarkable footprints on the economy in recent times. I feel so fulfilled that we are doing this today, and I believe all other members of our great association will feel the same for a number of reasons. We all know that the last EndSARS protest and the COVID-19 pandemic that dominated Nigeria's economic landscape, leaving highly devastating impacts on the economy of that most corporate organizations and individuals are still grappling with. Indeed, most of what our association had planned to achieve could not be attained this year because of this and many other challenges. We all know many other bodies that shifted their conferences from this year, but we dared to push ahead. With today's success, our whole expression of joy, excitement, and fulfillment will be quite understandable. Indeed, I would like to owe these achievements to the grace of God. I sincerely believe God has always showered His mercies in us in all the 8 years of our annual conferences, right from the maiden edition held in 2023 in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, to the one organized last year in Lagos as well. As a regular culture, we have always gathered together seasoned analysts and informed stakeholders to discuss key issues facing the marketing industry, as well as other issues affecting brand Nigeria at large. This year, we have decided to shift slightly away from core issues in the world of brands and marketing to an area we hope to stir up the possibility of creating many mega brands that will jumpstart the much desired industrialization Nigeria needs for economic development, especially in these times of recession. Our theme for this year's conference is Consolidating Nigeria's Agricultural Revolution: Challenges, Opportunities, and Lessons. Our focus on agriculture this year is motivated by the passion to deepen discussions in an area we believe can extensively provide answers to the endless calls for the diversification of our economy and create big brands across all touch points of its long value chain. We cannot ignore the remarkable hard work of the Nigerian government through CBN's current strengthening effort in local production of major agricultural products, including the ban on access to foreign exchange for importation of several valuable agricultural products, including rice, palm oil, and dairy products. However, we still believe that there is still a very big room for remarkable improvement, especially in terms of real output, since there are many other factors aside funding burdening the sector. It is our belief that at the end of this conference, we will generate the main ideas that economic planners, both at the state and the national levels, can draw from to push brand Nigeria out of the current economic recession to the next level. We have indeed assembled at this conference a crack team of experts to guide us as we brainstorm on the imperatives in developing a very vibrant and modern agricultural sector, utilizing various techniques in value chain development to build agricultural infrastructure and create big brands that can stand as pillars in Nigeria's economic development. I strongly believe we will learn a lot as we participate in what we all agree will be a very lively intellectual session. As part of our activities today, we will equally recognize some brands and players in the Nigerian economy that have made remarkable impact in recent times. Our awardees are indeed the true heroes of our time. To start out, despite the COVID-19 pandemic, a highly disruptive end-SARS protest, and now an economic recession that has gathered momentum for months, is no mean feat. Real heroes are those who rise up to the challenge in times of crisis and conflict. We will be recognizing some of these achievers today, and we humbly invite you all to join us in this celebration. All great members of this association will recall that when the current executive took over 2 Novembers ago, we promptly hit the ground running, consolidating on the solid foundation that has been established by our 2 previous administrations. You could recall that we crafted and defined the strategic direction and agenda that was to guide us in our goal of creating a respected force of brand writers, developing and strengthening stakeholder relationships, and maintaining strategic partners in all for our members' benefit. We started with some remarkable strides, organizing training programs with some corporate organizations, and we are poised to unveil many other packages for our members this year when the pandemic, national protests, and now recession struck, all in very big succession. But all of us elected into the current executive have resolved to forget this focused year, ending in the next few weeks to push ahead. However, we believe better days are ahead as we plan to effectively pick up with our strategic plan for next year. I personally believe great things lie before us all if we remain united to push for a better tomorrow. Let me especially appreciate all members of the current PGAN executive, as well as all members of this great association, for their diligence and hard work, despite the challenges of 2020. Your consistent efforts have been quite instrumental to survival and their advancement so far. Let me appreciate all the sectoral bodies and industry associations, the Advertisers Practitioners Council of Nigeria, the Advertisers Association of Nigeria, ADMAN, the Advertising Agencies Association of Nigeria, AAN, Outdoor Agency Association of Nigeria, OAAN, PR Consultants Association of Nigeria, PRCA, Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria, and the Experiential Marketers Association of Nigeria. We sincerely appreciate your partnership and support. I want us to use this time to especially salute our sponsors and donors, some of whom are represented at this conference, for their support and goodwill that we have always enjoyed, especially this challenging year. Without your tremendous support and contribution, we would not have been able to achieve the successes we have recorded since we started this annual conference in 2023. We are immensely grateful to you all. We celebrate you. Let me thank all of you for coming. This year's conference is special as it is our first hybrid event with thousands of friends and attendees participating from the comfort of their homes and offices. We sincerely appreciate your effort in linking up. Once again, it is my joy and honor as the third elected chairman of the Brand Journalists Association of Nigeria, PGAN, to formally welcome you all to our 8th annual Brands and Marketing Conference Awards holding in Lagos State. God bless the Brand Journalists Association of Nigeria. God bless you all. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I thank you for your attention, and I wish you all an enjoyable day.
On that note, I would like to call on Mr. Tunde Okoya, President, Organization for Technology Advancement for Cold Chain in West Africa, to come and give us his lecture.
resources we require, in order to achieve a national cold chain infrastructure. We repeated this severally. Power is number one. That's very essential. The good thing, as I said, is that there's so many new sources of renewable energy that people are looking to: biomass, solar, and so many other ways that we can power cold chain independent of the national grid without relying on the national grid. Access to patient capital is very important because it's an asset. Banks are very used to arbitrage, buy and sell, but we know agriculture is long term. It's patient, it takes time. We've talked about manpower, access to roads, access to market, and fiscal policy. Very important.
Then, if you look at it, no farmer you cannot see them on the farm. No farmer you can see on the farm because all of them are run away. And if you look at the history of Nigeria, we have about 85 million hectares of land suitable for agricultural practices. About 35% are being put into practices. Today, we cannot get it right because all lies on oil.
By August 2019, the border was shut or was closed. And the general impression was we should all go into the farm. Today, my employer is the chairman, RIFAN, Rice Farm Association of Nigeria. If you know what they've committed in terms of investment into the rice because of that policy. So now we are not going to open that border by next year. What do you think will happen to the investment? I don't know if I'm on the same page, sir. Now, because of the shortfalls in revenue and the quick sharp practices in that area in smuggling, that is why he closed that border to encourage us, to make us to go back to the farm, which we've been doing. Today, if you go into the farm right now, some people, their own job is just to produce sack, and they're making money from it. Some people is just to print on it. Some people logistic, some people just processing, while some people are into the production. So by the time that border is closed, all those channels will be swept off. You know why? Because right now at Benin Republic, within this short period that we have this NSAS issue, right now at Benin Republic, imported rice into this country is 30,000 naira, 70,000 naira. You understand? Thank you, my sister. You are shaking your head. And you know the funny thing, sir. All the rice we are eating in the southwest here is from the north and east. Because most of us in the southwest we prefer to do smuggling or internal smuggling. I know you asked me what I mean by internal smuggling. We have internal smuggling and we have smuggling. That is why the likes of my brother Sheikh Ato cannot buy pens because of internal smuggling. And what is internal smuggling? Our own Nigerian rice, they will bag it into a foreign bag and they will now sell it at 27,000 naira. I stand to challenge anybody. Nigerian rice is one of the best. You know why? We produce and buy our rice within 6 months. But most of those ones that come from foreign land is within 10 years. Already is stale. Already is expired. And yet they eat it. And we have a name we call for it here in Yoruba land. Among with rice egbe. Those of us that eat rice. Agogo rice egbe because the more you pour water in it.
There are policies that this government, even though past government and even the present one have, that can take care of most of the things we are talking today. But if we don't dig them out, if we don't challenge, government on some of these policies, these things will be there, and it will all look as if they are not, but they are there. For instance, we are talking about the closure of the border. This government has, which is even headed by the president, the Security Council, Food Security Council. They have 5 initiatives. One of them is the Food Security Council, headed by him. And one of the mandate of that council is to look about what is happening regionally and what's happening in the border. Fine, the border was closed, partly because of smuggling, but banditry and a lot of things coming into. But people will also have issues. It's like this border is closed from our own end here and up in some other places, borders are open and things are happening as usual. And a lot of people will ask questions, why so? I'm not here to say all that now. But the truth of the matter is that some people have also said, like Mawaga here said, that the closure of the border is actually not sustainable. In the short while, you might get some of these things that you are asking, but we cannot sustain it. A lot of people in the market are complaining. And the cost of things have gone so high, possibly because one of the cause of this is because of the closure of this border. That is, inflation is going up by the day. So some of those things that the Food Security Council meets and discuss, looking at their mandate, a lot of things come up. And one of the decisions taken is I think there's a need for us. I mean, when you put up a policy, you look at it. How is it working? And if you discover that there's a need to tweak it a bit, you also tweak it and see how it goes. So there's a need for the government at this time to look into opening this border and see how things go.
We can't compare Nigeria with North Africans or South Africans in terms of production. So they can afford coming to our country and chase us away with price. What's the prediction of that? Which means most of our small, medium entrepreneur or our entrepreneur or our farmers are technically going toward oblivion. So it's a big issue. And I'm happy that someone is here for the Ministry of Agri. They should please look into it. That statement by that Minister of Finance last week has begun to cause ripples within the agricultural sector right now. Because everybody is now holding back. They want to look at what government could do for next year. So what does that mean? Food insufficiency.
I don't know, a lot of people may disagree with me, but I've never thought closing the border is going to be the solution to anything. I mean, it's not a sustainable long-term solution. At the end of the day, unfortunately, people that are employed and paid to do a job to protect the borders, at the end they just really need to do their job. And sustained border closure is not going to be a solution.